My name is Melissa. I work at QuantSite, and I am here to talk about NumPy, the project, and explain a bit about an experiment in community building that we have been doing called the Newcomers Hour. For those of you who may not be as familiar with scientific computing, NumPy is the fundamental package for array computing in Python. It provides a multidimensional data structure, the ND array, and fast, efficient operations to manipulate those arrays. As of last month, we counted 69 million downloads. These are monthly downloads on PyPI, and we estimate that we have around 10 to 15 million users worldwide. It has received around $1.5 million in lifetime funding, and at any given time, we count around 10 active maintainers. NumPy is used in a range of different industries and scientific disciplines, including data science, image processing, audio and video processing, gene sequencing, and a lot of other areas. It's used in scientific research, finance, the automotive and aerospace industries, sports, meteorology, healthcare, and space exploration, to name a few. The NumPy team has been growing lately. We have been trying to move away from the core dev terminology in favor of teams. So we have a maintainers team, we have a website and a documentation teams with people working on different aspects of our project. This is meant to highlight the fact that we believe all contributions are important and that code contributions are not more important than documentation, website, or community contributions. We have been holding regular community and docs meetings for a while, and this has helped with the communication of other contributors and potential contributors that want to approach our community. And we are trying to engage more newcomers. And when we say newcomers, we are also making sure that we understand that they are not necessarily beginners. People who approach NumPy for a potential collaboration are usually people who have a lot of experience in other areas. For example, they may be people who are longtime users of NumPy and who know a lot about scientific computing, but they have never contributed to an open source project before. Or they may be domain experts who know a lot about programming, but with other languages instead of Python. This helps understanding their motivations and how to engage with them. So what is there to do in NumPy? It is such a big project and there are so many things to do. You can see a screenshot of the GitHub repo for NumPy, where it says that we have around 2,000 open issues and 242 open pull requests. Some of those are code, including Python or C code, and some of those are documentation, styling, or other kinds of issues that we want to work on. We welcome educational content generation, community contributions, website improvements, and a lot more. So who are our contributors? I'm showing here a picture of a yellow sign that says learning, just do it. And of course, that's not what happens in real life. People who approach us to contribute to NumPy are usually people who have not had a lot of experience contributing to other open source projects, like I mentioned before, but they may have a lot of experience in other stuff. However, this is very hard to grasp just looking at GitHub issues or comments or pull requests. So we needed a way to reach our contributors and understand who they are and what they need to thrive in our projects, without using just GitHub or being limited to public forums of communication. I'm bringing here a quote that I like a lot from John Obacon in his book People Powered: How Communities Can Supercharge Your Business, Brands, and Teams. The quote says, "Building a great community is fundamentally about creating an ecosystem in which people produce meaningful work, are able to thrive, are motivated to keep growing, and can help sustain the future success of the community. Doing this well is about understanding the drivers and motivations of people and using tech as a means to address and harness those drivers and motivations. Don't let the tech dominate your thinking. I really like this quote because it talks about the human aspects of communities and how we should engage with the newcomers that arrive and want to onboard into our communities. This means that if someone is motivated and reaches your community wanting to contribute, the tech should be secondary. This can be taught. People can learn and they can thrive inside a project even if they don't have the technical knowledge in the beginning. It is up to us to mentor and help them find their way into the project. We chose to supplement the GitHub flow of communication with Slack. So why are we choosing Slack, which is in a way a closed form of communication? Many people are afraid to make mistakes in the open, and this is something that I've been hearing from our contributors directly. They say that it is very intimidating to comment on an issue or create a PR to NumPy because they are afraid they're getting it wrong. Slack is also a great way to figure out mentoring and what people need in order to learn how to behave inside the project. And we can actually match people with the work they want to do. So someone who approaches with a lot of domain knowledge, maybe they want to write educational content or maybe they want to work on the code, but they need to be able to find those places to work, and talking to a maintainer is the best way to do that. Getting people to their own goals within the community is the best way to make them stick around in the project. People stay in your project if they find that what they are doing is enjoyable and they are reaching their own goals inside the project. So we want to help them achieve that. We have created in our Slack a Newcomers channel, which is not only a place for people to introduce themselves and say what they want to get from the project, but also to meet other newcomers and people who also want to work on NumPy. So what is the NumPy Newcomers Hour? This is a Zoom call which has a goal of connecting with the community. People can talk to each other without the barriers of Slack or GitHub. They can ask questions in a safe environment where they feel they are heard and they can explain themselves. They can meet other newcomers and bond over their own interests inside the project. And they can ask deeper questions about community, roadmap, the historical development of NumPy, and things that would not fit in a public forum. So what's the impact that this has had in our community? You can see here a screenshot of the Newcomers channel that we have on Slack, and we have 45 people at the moment at this channel. This is still early days, and not all of these people are contributing, of course, but the feedback that we've been getting from members of our community has been very encouraging. We have been able to identify some issues in our onboarding processes and figure out mentoring for some of them. And we are facing this as a long-term goal, creating a community where people feel safe and where they can do their best work. So what can we see in our future? I've included a picture of a long road ahead, and I think the idea is to think long-term. First of all, we have to realize that lowering barriers of entry does not mean lowering quality for our projects. People can thrive and they can learn to be their best selves inside our project if only we have the infrastructure to allow them to ask questions and feel safe about it. Mentoring and sponsorship go a long way, and so this is something that we need to find the time and the motivation to do. Cross-project actions can be very helpful. Imagine how we can scale up these kinds of processes if we are working with multiple projects at a time. One of the ideas that can be helpful is to diversify the contribution paths inside the projects beyond code. This means that we can work on documentation, on community, on websites, but this also can mean outreach, education, and a host of other tasks. If you're interested and you want to chat about it, let's talk. You can find me on Twitter at MelissaWM, or you can reach us in any of our official forums for NumPy. Thank you.